Right, today I am going to show you how a Speedfit Pushfit joint works and how to put one together. So this is a JG Speedfit Pushfit fitting. How do I know it's a JG Speedfit Pushfit fitting? On the side here it's got JG written, which is for John Guest. So it's quite a simple fitting. It's very easy to use. It's demountable, which means that you can use it again without causing any damage to it or the pipe, which is fantastic. Makes it really good value. And for a DIYer, it's very, very much more simple to use than many of the other systems. So how does it work? A bit like a compression joint. It's got a nut, so which you unscrew just like this. And then inside there are a couple of washers. For the newer Speedfit fittings, these are grey, so there's a little collet here, and then just inside that is a little black O-ring. Now they go in the order, the black O-ring goes in first, and then the grey collet over the top of it, and then the nut, goes up. Now as you can see inside, hopefully, you can see there's a sort of little stop bit where the pipe will eventually end up. So that's what will stop the pipe going all the way through the joint, and that's where the pipe needs to end up. So I always recommend, if you get a new Speedfit fitting, that you check that all the right bits are in there in the right order, because if they're not, it won't work properly. So make sure that you put the O-ring in first, then the grey collet, and then you put the nut on, and then you turn the nut until you get this click sound, and then that's far enough. So you see there's a little gap just left there. So I'll check the other end, make sure that it's still there. So yes, we've got a black O-ring and a grey collet, so that goes into. And again, I'll just do the nut up until I hear the click, and that's fine. So there's a little gap there, and that's the state it should be in when you actually install the pipe. We never install Pushfit fittings with the nut off. Everything must be pre-assembled. Right. So it's really important with plastic pipe that you use an insert with a pipe. Unlike copper pipe, it's not such a rigid pipe, and so Speedfit require that you have this little insert, or pipe stiffener as it's sometimes called. It has a little O-ring around the middle and then another O-ring around the outside, and this pushes into the end of the pipe. If it doesn't go properly, you can give it a thump like that, and it goes in. And as you can see, it's sitting nice and flat on the end of the pipe. Now that will stop the pipe collapsing under any pressure, and hopefully will also mean it goes into the joint quite nicely. So now you have your Speedfit joint, your elbow, slightly open, but you've gone past that little click, and then you've got your piece of pipe with the pipe stiffener in the end. And all you need to do is you need to push the pipe into the joint until you feel it click up, and you will feel it. If it doesn't actually feel like it's pushed in and stopped against something, then you haven't pushed it far enough. So either take it apart or just push a little bit harder. If you're not sure, rule of thumb, if you're not sure if something has gone in properly, take it apart and redo it, because it'll be nagging away in the back of your mind, and you'll be worrying about it. So then, once you've got it in, you can just tighten up that knot and all is secure. Now, unlike copper pipe, plastic pipe fittings allow the pipe to rotate. So don't be worried that the pipe is able to rotate in there. Doesn't mean that the water's going to get out. It's just a factor of plastic pipe. And that basically is how to put plastic pipe into a plastic pipe fitting. Now, I said with these Speedfit plastic pipe fittings that actually they're really easy to take apart as well. So just to take them apart, you just loosen off the nut here, and then you pull in this little collar here, and then pull out the pipe. Now, what often happens when you do that, as you can see, is that little pipe stiffener, the pipe insert, comes out. Not a problem. You just undo the nut, take out the pipe insert and the rings at the same time, and then just make sure that you put the rings back in the right order, and then do the nut up. So you've just gone past that little click. And that's it, basically. Really, really easy to use, really straightforward, and you can use them over and over again. So if you make a mistake, there's no problem about taking it apart and putting it back together again. Now, The other nice thing about these plastic Pushfit fittings is that you can actually also use them with copper pipe. So if you get your piece of 15mm copper pipe and your fitting, always good, as with compression joints, is to make sure that the pipe is nice and clean. So I'm just using a little bit of wire wool just to clean that off, make it look shiny. And to be perfectly honest, copper looks so much nicer when it's shiny anyway, doesn't it? Anyway, so there I am. Now, the copper pipe, nice and stiff, nice and rigid, so you don't need to worry about putting an insert into it. It's going to hold its shape whatever happens. And in this case, all we're going to need to do, we've got our pipe fitting, we've checked that it's got all the bits in it, we've got our copper pipe, and we just push it in until we feel it stop against that stop inside, and then we do the nut up. And it is as simple as that. And exactly the same way to undo it, you just undo the nut like that, just pull that little collar up with your fingers, and then just pull the pipe out. And there we are.